Okay, I think we're live. Hello, friends. Welcome to Church Slavonic Practicum. Today we have another live. And today let's just talk about vocabulary words. So, I called this live Vocabulary Week 1 because ideally when you learn Church Slavonic, like when you learn any other language, when you learn a language, you need to constantly learn the vocabulary of that language, like the new words every week. And usually you have the list of words every week. And I created for you a list of 20 core words. Then like next week we're gonna have 20 verbs, and it will just go on and on. It could be 20 or it could be 10, it could be 50, but right now let's try 20 and let's see if it's gonna be fruitful, like for people using just YouTube to learn the language, let's say. So we'll have 20 core words today, and the goal is you're gonna learn them. You have to memorize them through the week. So you see here on the screen, this is the list of the words, and then when we end this stream, you can go into the recording, and in the description you will see the link to the Facebook page. So if you go to the Facebook page, Church Slavonic Practicum Facebook, you can download these words. There is a picture of these words. Here I didn't write them in Church Slavonic because as far as we move, you didn't learn to read yet here on YouTube with me. I didn't teach on YouTube how to read, so I'm using transliteration. And so the first graph that you see here, it says word translate. So it's a word, it's a Church Slavonic word, but it's Latin transliteration. So you see those English, like English equivalent, how to read it using Latin alphabet, English alphabet, I will say. It's not English, it's Latin, but still. So, for example, the first word, you see, and try to read it. Господь, Господь. D, you see the D, the last letter D, it's with a mark, it's a soft mark. The next column is meaning. So this word means Lord. And then the third column is liturgical context. Let me see what it says there. The context will be Господи помилуй. You might heard this phrase over and over and over. Господи помилуй. Господи помилуй is Lord have mercy. So this is the context. For example, it's just one of the examples. It's also in transliteration. It's one of the examples how you can meet this word in the context. You can meet this word Господь in the context of Господи помилуй. But then you'll say, why is it Господь? But then the text says Господи. It's because the word Господь is a noun in the nominative case. It means it's just naming the word. Okay? Nominative case names the word. But then there can be different other cases, And then those cases show us how this word relates in the text to other words. Okay? For example, Господь. Господь is the nominative case, which just names the word Господь. Like the name of the word table, the name of the word house, the name of the word woman, right? And then when you have a text sentence, in the sentence, the words relate to each other. Because then all of a sudden, the woman can be sitting on the chair. So then the word woman is nominative case, woman. The word chair, nominative case, is chair. But then when the woman is sitting on the chair, then in English, the words don't change. When they show the relationship to each other, they don't change, but you use different helping words. And through the helping words, you see the relationship. So in Russian and in Church Slavonic, and also in Latin and many other languages, those of you who is familiar with Latin will now get what I'm talking about. Will be like, oh yeah, we know what she's talking about. So in Russian and Church Slavonic and in some other languages, the words show their relationship to each other by changing their form of the word. For example, the ending. You have the root word, the root of the word, and then you have different endings, right? Suffix, or the and, or the pre-suffix. So all of those factors show the relationship, which means a woman is sitting on the chair, and then the word woman will have a different ending. Depends on what relationship this woman has to the chair. Or the chair will have a different ending. Depends on what relationship it has to the woman. For example, if the woman sits on the chair, there will be one ending. But then if the woman calls a chair, right? We can't call a chair like, hey, chair, come to me. But then if we talk about the person. So if you call somebody, then it will be different ending. And that's how the cases come. That's how the cases work. Because there will be nominative, there will be genitive, there will be dative, like all of these different cases. They represent the relationship between the words. And it's not that complicated, actually. Once you get it, it's not that complicated. You actually already know the cases. You just don't know the name of the cases. You use them. I mean, in language. Maybe you're not as educated in the language, so you don't even know the names of the cases. But it doesn't mean that you are not using them in your speech every day when you talk. You don't have to be a scientist to just use those tools, because those the cases, for example, the cases of the nouns, those are the tools. And you don't have to be a plumber to actually use the tool and to do something to the pipe. And so, I mean, that's why, sometimes when people who start learning the language, Russian or Church Slavonic, they get introduced to the cases And then they go like, oh no, this is crazy. This is so complicated. It's not for me. I can never learn it. My mind is not built up for this. I have a different mindset, like, for some other stuff. This is not for me. That's it. And they give up. But it's actually, it's easier. It's just, I think we should a little bit popularize the science of linguistics. I mean, it should be popular. How you say, like, you have to popularize linguistics to make it easy and simple, because there are just maybe one, as I know there's maybe a few textbooks on Church Slavonic in America, official textbooks, like, official, that you can officially buy, that was published in America and accredited, and it's a good one. It's really a good one. But you know what? I started that, I think, maybe on the 4th year of my university, of my master's degree program, 5 years of master's degree program. And I think on the 4th year of linguistics department, I started the same thing. I mean, that textbook that I just, looked through once, I'm like, no, that can't be used for just regular Americans who want to learn Church Slavonic. This is too complicated. And of course, if you're gonna just get that textbook and try to learn Church Slavonic, even with the help of the teacher, not even by yourself, but even if there's a teacher and the teacher will be teaching you that, you don't need that. You will never speak Church Slavonic. You will never read Church Slavonic in the church, because they pack you with like 400 or 500, like maybe 400+ pages of pure high-level grammar, which actually you never need. Because you know what? I will explain you. First of all, if you want to be a master in Church Slavonic, you need 3 basic cases. You need to learn all 3 basic cases, noun cases. And that will be more than enough for you to master Church Slavonic. And how it's supposed to be started learning Church Slavonic is you first need to learn the core words, the very important words, because all the scriptures, all the sacred texts, they all use over and over and over the same words. For example, take the liturgy and think of during the liturgy, how many times you say the word Lord during liturgy, or Lord have mercy, or, and there are some those core words that I call core words that you use over and over and over and over, even if it's different holidays, different occasions, like the different feast days. There are still core words that are used on every occasion. So at least if you learn at least those maybe 50 core words, you will already know half of all the texts. So at the end it comes to memorization. And one more thing, like, I'm really trying to motivate you right now. I'm really trying to inspire and motivate. My whole message right now is to motivate, is to tell you that it's not actually that hard that you think it is. And if you don't give up the first couple of months of working on the language, if you don't give up, it will start making sense for you. So here's one more thing. When you learn that important core vocab words, then we will discuss the roots of those words, the roots. So when you start figuring out the root of the word and then the different endings of the words, then you will know how those words relate in the texts, which is in the sentences. So when we take a text, a prayer, or a passage from the Bible, or psalm, then you will know, you will take a sentence and you see those words that, let's say, you already memorized them, and then you know the root of the word, and then you see the different endings, and by the different endings you will be able to figure out the meaning of this word in this particular sentence, in this situation. Because, for example, the word отец. So you all know the Lord's Prayer, right? How it starts. Отче наш, our Father. So our Father is Отче наш, Отче, Father, наш, our. You know, I have the whole video about Lord's Prayer, and I explain there why the words, the places of the words are different and everything. So we're not going to talk about it right now. You can watch my whole tutorials. I have like maybe 5 or 6 of them, because I break the whole prayer into the parts and we go over, because this is the most important videos, I think, for you to start learning the Church Slavonic. When you start learning Church Slavonic using my resources, I think you should start with those tutorials, those videos on Lord's Prayer, because I explain a lot there, and you will already have some base. You will already have a small foundation. You will already know what I'm talking about later on. So, okay, we talk about Отче наш, Отче, Father. But it's not nominative case, because the word Father is Отец. And then Отче is like we change this word into a different case because we're calling for him. We're calling him. It's like, hey mama, or hello, somebody, like, you know, we're calling. So in that case, when you call somebody, the noun change a little bit. You have the root of the word, and then you have different forms like something. In some cases, it's the suffix and ending, like, but it's still ending. So we're not going to talk like that fancy. Let's just talk simple, because when you talk simple English, it becomes easier. So we just have different ending or different prefix, like, you know, we add something before the root. So here's the root of the word, and we can add an ending, or we can something add before the root. So prefix and suffix is at the end of the word. So we change a little bit the word, and by the different form of the word, you already know if this word just used in the sentence to name the subject, or is this word is used in the sentence to call the subject, like, you know, we're calling for somebody or something, or something else, like a different a purpose of this word in the sentence. And so here the first word in our 20 words is Господь. I said a little bit in Russian way, Господь. So Russians, they don't O that much. Like we call it in Russia okets. Okets. Like when there's O in the word and you just say it O. But that's how it was in Church Slavonic. But now in modern Russian, they already don't do that O. They kind of assimilate O to A. And so Russians, Church Slavonic Gospod, Russian Gospod. Especially, like, if you study dialects in Russia, so different parts of Russia has different dialects. Some parts of Russia have that, we call it rekanye. People say a lot of re instead of like ge, they say re. Or like, for example, the Moscow dialect is akanya, Moscow dialect. People who live in Moscow or consider themselves to be Moscowers, whatever, like New Yorker, how you call somebody who lives in Moscow, like Moskvich in Russian. So the person who lives in Moscow, people who live in Moscow, they say everything with a, and it's like very, very famous, well known in Russia, that dialect. So, but Gospod. So Gospod is Lord, but then we have here, Lord have mercy, will be Господи помилуй. So, that is just different ending. You see, Господь, Господи. I. We have an ending on the word Господь. And Господи, Lord have mercy. Господи помилуй. So it means, this ending means that we are calling for Lord. We're asking him, right? We're asking him, like, please, Lord. We ask, please, Lord, have mercy, right? So, and that's how you know. For example, let's take the second word, Bog. Bog. Bog is God. And then the context, liturgical context, Slava Bogu. Slava Bogu. Then Bog is the nominative case, right? It's just, we name the word Bog. And then Bogu, we just add an ending, right? Slava Bogu. Glory to the God, glory to Lord, glory to the Lord. Slava, glory. So I think you also heard it a lot, right? Probably, if you go to, I don't know, if you have Russian friends, or let's say you go to Russian church, you will hear it a lot. Slava Bogu, Slava Bogu. And this is Bog, this word. Or Jesus, the third word, Isus. So you just learn them. And maybe one of the good ways to learn, it's not necessary, but it will help you. You can, using these words, make flashcards. That's how I would probably do if I would be you. I would do it because it's easy. I already gave you everything. You just have a small piece of paper, like, the squares or rectangles, small rectangles. And then on one side you write transliteration. And then on the other side you write translation, which is meaning, translation. So on one side you write Господь, on the other side you write Lord, and you have those flashcards, and then you practice over and over and over and over. It's easy. You can just use this sheet, and I told you I will repeat one more time. You can print it out from Facebook. There is a link on the description. So go to the Facebook and you will see this, and you can print it out. And I need a conviction from you, conviction, to be convinced. I need conviction because learning language, I think, takes a lot of conviction and discipline. Like if you really, really want to do it, you will do it because it's going to get hard. You're going to get overwhelmed. But if you will have that conviction yourself, it will help you to continue. It's the most important thing, I think, for you will be to continue, to keep doing it no matter what. You're tired or you don't have time or anything. But you have to convince yourself why you need it. Do you need it? Do you really need it? You need to have a reason. Why do you need it? That reason that will actually push you when you don't want to do it, when you are feeling burned out. Like one of the examples I will tell you just to motivate yourself, just to motivate you, for just as an example. When I came to America, I was 21 years old. And, back then, it was like a different planet. Like, you, for example, all of a sudden, you just land into a different planet, not even different world, different planet. Everything is so different. Everything is so unknown, unfamiliar. And so the next day when I just arrived, I was 21, I just finished university, And then I got my diploma, and the next week, because I was getting ready to come through the last half a year of my university, and I already planned everything. And then when I got the visa and when I got the ticket, and I knew that I'm finishing the university like in May, and on June, this is the day when I'm receiving my diploma. There's like a ceremony, and I wasn't even able to attend. I wasn't on the ceremony, like the graduation ceremony in the university. I wasn't there. I skipped it because I was in American embassy on that day. I was in the American embassy. So I came, the graduation was over, and I just went to the faculty office to get my diploma. And next week, I already had the plane and I landed in New York. And the next day, I started working at Subway store where they sell sandwiches. You make the sandwiches, the Subway. And I worked there and was paid $5 an hour. And so after working there for like a few months, all of a sudden somebody, like, there will be customers, and there were regulars already. People know you. They're like, rumors. And all of a sudden somebody comes and offers me a job at the medical office, at the reception, in the reception office. And of course, it was like such an upgrade for me, from making sandwiches for $5 an hour. You get into the medical office, which has a lot of potential. And they told me that they will give me for start $8. And if I show the growth, then we'll get into the up to $12 an hour. And that for me, like, working for $5 an hour and then having 12, potentially, it was a big thing. So I had the purpose. So when I came to the medical office, it was really tough. Tough, not even a word to describe and explain how hard it was. All of these words, listen, believe me, in Russia, like, I just came from Russia, where people in medical facilities didn't have computers yet. No, there were no computers yet. And I absolutely never saw a computer in my life. Honestly, I came to America, I never touched a computer in my life before. Like that, how it was. And so they bring me to the medical office where everything is like computerized. And what am I supposed to do? So the lady who was retiring, and I was supposed to work for her, she told me that was her last week, so I had 1 week with her to observe. She didn't teach me, she was just working, and I will observe her, and then I start. And so my first day, I hear all these words that I have no idea what they mean. I don't know these words, never heard these words. Believe me, my English back then. So my English is not even perfect now. Imagine how it was when I just came to America. So I'm watching her the first day. I come home, I come back the next day, and I realized I don't know anything and I can't make it. But I had such a purpose and conviction because, look, I didn't want to go back to the Subway store and make sandwiches again for $5 an hour. I didn't want to. I wanted that job. It gave me a lot of, I could grow there. So what I did, right now I know that I did, like, it was illegal, but back then I didn't know the rules. I didn't know how everything works in America, believe me. So I'm like, okay, there are patients folders. What if I take one folder, go home, and through the night see all the words and use the dictionary, and I have to figure out what those words mean. I didn't even know what's the case is. For example, we have a patient who had an accident, for example, and they come. I remember we had a patient who comes, a new patient, and he comes to her and he's like, I had an accident and I really need to see a doctor. And she goes, do you have a claim with insurance? And he goes, yes. I'm like, claim, okay, what is that? I don't know these words. Claim. And then she goes, okay, what's your case number? And I'm like, what is case number? So I'm writing all these words, claim, case number, and I have to then look them up, and then I have to learn the whole system, the insurance companies and all this stuff. It was too complicated. But you know what? My point is, I had such a huge conviction. I just had so much, a big purpose. I knew what I needed and I did it. And then it started unfolding, and I ended up a manager and a billing person in that medical office. I grew so well in that medical office, and the only purpose of my story right now is to show you how did I do it. Only because I had the goal. I saw why I needed. Because if I didn't know why I needed, if I didn't have this picture that I either learn it, or it's like a tough picture, like you have no choice. The choice is you go back to the Subway store, which I really didn't want to go. And so then now here's the thing. It's like you have no choice. So find a purpose that actually will not leave you a choice to, like, okay, you know what? I'll skip today. Oh yeah, I know I have to do those words. But when you have no choice, like me, I had no choice. I either come to the medical office and the lady is gone, and I have a patient and I don't know what is the claim number or the case number or all of this. I don't know what they're talking about. And then I will have to leave the job and go back to the job that I don't want to work. So when I saw that I have no choice, like, put yourself into that frame that you have no choice. But at the same time, it has to be motivational. It has to be something like, like when you have a carrot in front of you and you run for that carrot, you really wanted that carrot. So create something like this for you. Like, have a vision. Why are you learning Church Slavonic? Like, for example, like, seriously, I can't answer that question for you, why you do that. You have to put it in front of yourself. Why are you doing it? And when you have it in front of yourself, then you will be walking over there. It will, that whenever you're tired, whenever you don't want it, you just again um, think in your mind what motivates you, why you're doing that, and you continue. And it can be anything. It can be your child, for example. Like, for example, you say, oh, you know what, I want my child to learn a different language, like, to be not bilingual, but at least, like, to grow their kids who grow with a few languages. And like, this can be one of those, and you can be learning the language together with your kid. And then this should motivate you enough, because you don't want to show your child that you don't have enough discipline, you're not strong enough to, like, you don't give up. You want to show the kid that you don't give up, you are consistent in what you do, because this is the best example. And that can be one of the reasons you find yourself, and so why I'm saying that is because it is crucial in learning language, is crucial to memorize words, new words, every week, new words, because only that's how you move forward, only that's how you make progress, only that's how you grow and you really learn. Because otherwise it will be like, you can not even bother, and just if you want to learn Lord's Prayer in Church Slavonic, you can just take the transliteration and just memorize that transliteration, and then just, like a robot, mechanically just say it. But then that soul of the language, you're gonna miss it. You're really gonna miss it. And I think it's so much fun to actually dive deep into that short text and then make sense of it for yourself, and to figure out the meaning of each word, word by word. And meaning also changes in the relationship between the words. Like here you can see. So for now, one more thing I want to tell you. Ignore the third column, the liturgical context. For now, ignore it. Focus on first two columns, the name of the word and then the translation. So the word and the meaning. The word is the name of the word, the meaning is the translation. Just memorize them. Like Господь, Lord, Бог, God, Иисус, Jesus, Христос, Christ, Дух, Spirit, Сын, Son, Отче, Father, Душа, soul, Мир, peace, or world. So the word Мир can be used in the meaning of peace and in the meaning of world. Молитва, prayer. Спасти, to save. Вечный, eternal. Царь, king. Святой, holy saint. Благословение, blessing. День, day. Вечеры, evening. Хлеб, bread. Свет, light. Радость, I say, I'm sorry, not радость. Радость, joy. Okay, I also wanted to say something. So with Church Slavonic, there's one big blessing. I think it's a blessing. We read as we see. It's actually the same as in Latin. We read, we pronounce same as it's written. For example, in English, the sounds sometimes doesn't match with the letters, right? You have a letter or a few letters, but they create a different sound. So you have to actually memorize them, and it can be complicated. But in Church Slavonic, as you see, that's how you pronounce, and it's a blessing because it's not complicated. It's easy. So let me just read for you again the words and transliteration without translation, because you can read translation yourself. So let me just read the words. So the first column: Господь, Бог, Иисус, Христос, Дух, Сын, Отче, душа, мир, молитва, спасти, вечный, царь, святой, благословение, день, вечеры, хлеб, свет, радость. You know, радость, I think I said a little bit with Moscow, with Russian dialect. It should be радость. You know, we have to say O a little bit more. O. Радость. Радость. Because in Moscow Russian it will be радость. You see the difference? It will be радость. It's more A after D. Радость. But it's Russian. But Church Slavonic, радость. You have to say that O. Радость. Okay? You want to do it one more time? Let's do one more time, and then we'll be done for today. So let's go. Господь, Бог, Иисус, Христос, Дух, Сын, Отче, душа, мир, молитва, спасти, вечный, царь, святой, благословение, день, вечеры, хлеб, свет, радость. Okay, so one more time I'm telling you, memorize them. There is no, compromise. Memorize them. Do it, and we're gonna move forward. If you just really wanna have some progress, just listen to me and do what I tell you to do. Just memorize those words, because it will help you so much later when we're gonna get the roots of those words, and then we will see them in different variations, in different texts. You will actually, it will be so easy for you if you memorized them like right now in the beginning. Then it will help you a lot. So don't give up, and I think it's fun, and have a great week, and we'll see you next time. And thank you for watching Church Slavonic, and I think I'm ending broadcast. Bye guys.